Captain's Log, Episode 84. This week's episode of the Beer Ventures podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective, home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. Well, you know what's coming next. This is the usual scripted portion of our podcast that will remain unscripted for the remainder of the writer's strike, as well as the SAG-AFTRA strike. Anyone out there, if you're suffering because of this, our heart goes out to you. Some of us are you as well. And if you know anyone who's in that situation, show your support, buy him a beer, let him know that you want this to end on very good terms for them and us. And that's all I have to say about that right now. 100 days plus for the Writers Guild. I guess it wasn't everything I had to say. That's the thing. When you don't have a script, it can ramble on like this because you have an afterthought or something you forgot to say, because nothing is carefully written. And so that will be a staple of this for what is looking like has no end in sight, which kind of sucks. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 84, Mitch, Please.
Oh, we're the Beer Vengers, Beer Vengers, Beer Vengers. We're the Beer Vengers.
Yeah, we are. Yes. Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens. I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in the biggest little city in the world. This is the Pale Male, Hophead Huck. I forgot who I was.
You okay there, Huck?
It's been so long, yeah.
I know. And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the County of Kings, it's still I, the Beer Wonder.
And we are the Beer Vengers.
Yeah, Huck, sweet. I thought you were hitting me with the Mitch McConnell moment there. I got all nervous. Don't freeze up like that on me.
I did recently turn 56, but I'm not quite to
all of a sudden
yet.
Side of girls gonna have to wander out and say, "Do you want to leave? Do you want to leave?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I think I do." No, well, heart goes out to anyone who actually loves Mitch McConnell.
Well said.
Just maybe not the man himself.
It's that's how I feel about a number of people there. It was like, if I ever try to establish empathy for someone that I have complete loathing for and think, well, there's someone that cares about them. And so I feel bad for them when bad things happen to that person, even if.
What an empathetic young man.
I mean, it's not really. I mean, it's not to make you think I'm great or anything. It's just more like I think it makes me feel better to like say, okay, to like get some of that hate out of my brain. Just like, because if you're just walking around seething all day, it's really not fun. It's kind of fun, like that moment you get a little juice from it, but then you're like, fuck that guy, fuck everyone. It's like, okay, somebody loves him. Someone, he's probably his grandchildren, maybe he brings them hard candies and they like that, or I don't know.
He has a wife. I mean, I don't love her that much either. Like, she's not politically, she's not great either. But like, you're right. I'm sure there's someone out there who like cares about Mitch McConnell as a person, as a human, and we should. You're right.
So as you can tell, we're trying to fill the gap of all the late night comedy political shows that are on hiatus due to the writer's strike, and we're failing miserably. I think mostly because
there's a reason none of us are WGA.
Yes, that's right. So since in the absence of all of that, I think we should probably get to the pours, don't you think?
I think that's a fine idea, sir.
Did we even welcome all our beer Avengers out there? Welcome all of you. I mean, I think we did at the beginning, but we're happy you're all here, and we're really happy to have some more pours and talk about our weeks in beer and our summers. And who should go first? Do you think?
There's a lot to discuss.
There's so many things that have happened. We've already covered politics, so we're off to a rousing great start. Gentlemen, if it is all right, I would like to go first today.
I love it.
Oh, that's exciting. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
If that would be okay with y'all, I would love to start this one off with a bang, because here's the thing, folks, and I know you're not going to believe this. Tonight, I will be drinking a
sponsored pour.
A sponsored pour. That's exciting.
Wait,
a sponsored pour from where? Oh, yeah?
It is not from our dear friends at the Beer and Cheese Collective. It is not.
No?
I know. This is shocking. This is from our very dear friend, Dan, over at the Pony Bar. In fact, today I will be drinking one of Dan's cans that he has so kindly provided us for me to enjoy on the Beercast with you all.
Well, that's going to be good.
I know. Well, I want to, and now what I'm excited to is that he's given me a New York beer, which is always exciting. He's given me a New York beer from a Long Island brewery, from Garvey's Point Craft Brewery, which is in Glen Cove, New York, and it is their Cryo Hazard, which is an IPA brewed with cryo hops. It's got real fun can art too. Very shiny.
That's a good one.
Much shine. Excellent shine there. But because we, of course, have nothing but love for our wonderful sponsor at the Beer and Cheese Collective, I will be drinking my Pony beer in my Beer and Cheese Collective glass.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I thought you had a Mitch McConnell there for a minute.
Thanks for talking. Yes.
I'm bringing up the rear in this collective, I'm afraid. So I got a couple more years till that comes. Yeah. All right, let's see what we got.
Take a look at this.
You're awfully precocious. You can get ahead of it. Oh, that's nice.
I know.
Good hazy pour there.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I have had 2 of these cans as well, so it's a nice beer.
It's like a dark haze, but it's got a nice healthy head on there.
Yep, it's real pretty, very orangey. Really excited about this. I don't know that I've ever had a cryo hop. We'll talk about that once we get everybody has beer.
Yeah, we've had them on the show before. Yeah, I believe.
Very good.
I know the process in my head. I think I know it. So who's going to go next then? You want me to do it?
Sure. Go ahead.
I know how you like
we're being so polite tonight.
Let's bounce around. Let's alternate from coast to coast.
Well, in my quest to bring more breweries to the show, I've got a new brewery, not new to the world, but new to the show. This is House of Pendragon.
Ooh.
And it's called Merlin's Reserve. House of Pendragon is right here in the Fresno area, a town called Sanger, California.
Mm-hmm.
And Merlin's Reserve is a specialty ale brewed with real butterscotch. So we've got an interesting, and there's no date on it. I don't know. Shout out to Monica over at the MGA Liquor in Clovis, which is a real good craft beer destination. And they got a real nice selection over there. I thought I saw something floating in here already. Well, let's take a look. Let's see just the color of this baby. All right.
Okay.
Very butterscotchy colored.
Yes, it definitely does feel like it's liquid butterscotch candy, at least from the view. Good head.
That's the way that's swirling in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's all
and the color changes. Yeah. Like as it settles, it gets darker. Oh, very nice.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What a pretty beer. And that feels very it feels like it's on the cusp of autumn. Like butterscotch is leading us into pumpkin beer season, which we can discuss later. It's already, the pumpkin has arrived and it's not even the beginning of August, but anyway, feels very fall appropriate, fall adjacent.
And I'll be very curious to hear what other spices are in there.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But before we get to that, I guess now it's time for my pour, which also happens to be a
sponsored pour.
That's right. But this one is a sponsored pour from our longtime sponsor, the Beer and Cheese Collective. And I think this is part of the deal where Rick White, I think, is trying to write off all his vacations because he has some breweries he really loves. As you may remember when we had the anniversary party, he brought some specifically some of his favorite ones. And he went on a trip again since then, and he brought some stuff back from Fox and a Hare.
Ooh, my.
And this is a milk stout from them called
foxy.
Dark Pastures.
Oh dear,
I believe
so
it's
dark.
a 5.8% milk stout.
Oh, bless it.
So let's see what we got here. Ooh, literally jumping out of the can.
Yeah, I can hear it jumping out of the can.
Towels here, yeah. There we go. Now let's take a look.
Oh dear. Okay, well that is a nice dark beer, although it's pouring pretty thin, is what it looks like from this angle.
Well, it's a 5.8, so it's a solid stout, more than a Guinness.
Milky head there.
Yeah.
All right, it looks nice and quaffable.
Close look here. Yeah.
Quafftastic.
I think you're probably right. This is my first time trying this one, but I'm very much looking forward to it.
Oh, so pretty can too. We do love a nice dark can, blue design. Oh, there's a cow on it? Yes. There's a cow on the can.
There is a cow. Yeah, it looks like there's several cows.
Oh,
there's like several cows. They're like a nice little pastoral setting there. A little farmhouse in the back. There we go.
All right, let's try some of these beers.
Absolutely, yes.
Cheers,
Beer Avengers.
Santé. We got a little of that butterscotch here.
Oh my!
Oh, that's nice and smooth.
Holy smokes!
Huh. Wow.
Oh man.
Wow. Ooh.
Good reactions all around.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh boy.
Boy, I think the beer wonder is enjoying it.
I am. This is it's journey of a beer.
I've never seen this look on his face.
I know there's a lot happening here. Like it is very fruity. It is all resin. Like it is all sap. And it's got a lot of that good fruit in there. It's an intense burst on the nose. The lingering, there is almost no astringency in this thing. The lingering flavor for me is sweetness, which I'm not used to with an IPA. I love it. Like I will drink all of these. It's also 7%. So I have already beat you, Captain, in terms of ABVs. We'll see how Huck does.
We'll see what we get to by the end of the episode.
Yeah. I'm aware. I will sit back later. But it's surprisingly drinkable for a nice 7%er. Now, what you said, we've had cryo hops. Huck, enlighten us. What's going on with a cryo hop?
What, as far as I remember from my studies in this, which was maybe a couple years ago, but you take the full hop cone.
Yes.
And you quick freeze it, whatever that process. And when that happens, the leaves of the cone don't freeze, right?
Oh,
So you can, what happens? You freeze it and you just peel it right off.
Oh.
And that leaves the lupulin whole.
Yeah.
Rather than making them into little pellets, which is the normal thing. It just exists as sort of a frozen pellet in its own self, the cone itself.
Oh wow!
I believe is the process. So it's kind of a cleaner hop to get into the boil. You know, it's just like pure.
Oh, nice. Well,
rather than going through any processing. I mean, I don't think it's a huge difference, but you don't lose any of the flavor in the drying of the hop or the normal process. So it's just a different way of getting the hop, rather than the drying process. Pretty sure. I don't want to do any hookups on that.
I was going to say all of my interneting indicates that the primary benefits of cryo hopping are enhanced flavor and aroma, process efficiency, cost saving, and sustainability, which makes perfect sense. And I mean, I guess with our friends at Garvey's Point, they've only been around since 2016. They are babies. But the one I've had some of their beers before. They have a Gold Coast double IPA that is quite lovely because if you think Glen Cove, like that's right in the chunk of Long Island where what was he's the rich guy, and he's in Long Island.
Great Gatsby.
That's the one. It's like Great Gatsby area.
Billy Joel?
Billy Joel, yeah.
Citizen Kane?
I only read it in
Citizen Kane.
I only read that book in 2021 for the first time. I didn't read it when I was in high school like everybody else did. I know.
I still haven't read it.
Well, then you probably remember it better than we did. Especially Huck. No, I read it in high school, but I also had it read to me a few years ago.
Oh, right, because they did that production, right?
Yeah, it's
Go
called
ahead.
Gats, but it was the
Yes, yes.
entire book. But it's done over like a 2-part thing with a dinner break, and whole cast performs it while reading the entire text.
Very impressive.
So the cryo hops are supposed to enhance the hop flavor by hop potency by 40 to 50% from traditional pellets. So what you're describing, that extra tropical flavor and the hoppiness there is just boom. It should be
it is baboom.
Turbo
That is
hops,
correct,
as it were.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
good
why
job. You see sometimes that some brewers will do a blend of traditional hop pellets and cryo hops
to ease up the hop.
Yeah, I think so.
Or to, I guess, enhance the hop. But if you were just doing all cryo, I mean, this is very, very hoppy. I'm very much enjoying this. But I could see how for many people where hops are a deterrent to their beer enjoyment, this would be a bit too much for them. That said, I will drink it all day. I will drink it to cool myself down with that cryoness.
Yeah, I guess I felt like when I had it, it was not. I mean, hop presence was there, but it's not like the old school West Coast punch you in the face hoppiness.
Right. Well, yeah,
it's still
Yeah, I can see this being like
it's
the
crisp
East Coast.
and clean, kind of.
Yeah, this is the East Coast version of this. Oh, and there's the bitterness. It just happened. It just started again.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I know it took a little while. Here's the thing: the beer sometimes
not
needs
aggressive.
to like check in. Yeah.
It's there, but it's not aggressive. Yeah.
Yep. It arrives. It says, "Hi, I'm here. What you think? How you doing? You want to maybe go and I don't know, have a car accident, and then maybe wind up dead in a pool at some point." Very Gold Coast. Very, very Great Gatsby.
Wow.
I'm gonna stop.
All that all that in a glass of beer.
I know.
Well, and then take the blame of the person who's driving and have her husband murder you later.
Exactly.
Something like that.
That's how it works. That's and
giving away the whole plot, guys. I haven't read it.
Well, spoiler alert, y'all.
Yes, I think we're beyond spoiler alerts on this book right now.
Spoiler on a 70-year-old book.
Yeah.
That many of us read it. Most of the world read in high school.
Talking about the whole New York State thing. This one is from Port Jervis.
Yes.
New York State. I've been trying to do a little bit of research, because I realized I didn't. You guys knew all these things about your breweries and your beers, and I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't look that up. So I started looking it up, and I was joking a little bit about Rick.
That's how I do it every show.
Rick writing off his family vacations, but literally, there's not a whole lot on this beer that isn't straight from the brewery. It says to me that Beer and Cheese Collective, if this is interesting beer, you should definitely go there. Because I don't think anywhere else in New York has it. This is here specifically because Rick White went there, put it in the trunk of his car, bought some from him. That yeah.
I gotta be honest. When I think of Port Jervis, weirdly, I think of the New Jersey Transit line that is actually a Metro North transit line because it goes through Jersey and then winds up in Point Jervis. Because if I'm not mistaken, Point Jervis is like literally on the border with Pennsylvania. Like you have to go through Jersey to get there. Or, I mean, you could go up Westchester and then take a hard left. But it's basically on the border with Pennsylvania, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I get that. Delaware River.
Yep.
I am not going to guess because as longtime listeners to the podcast know, I'm always wrong when I do.
And you can just believe the wonder. Believe in the wonder.
But how's the beer?
Believe in the wonder.
The beer is very good. It's really solid. It's not overbearing. It's got that nice it's obviously it's got the body of a stout, but it's also not as thick as you would with a foreign export or an imperial. Exactly how you expect it. Yep. Really nice, crisp, clean finish. That chocolate there, the chocolate is there, but it's not too sweet. Mm-hmm. It's really solid.
Okay.
Yeah. If I can figure out where Port Jervis is, maybe I'll try and stop by the brewery. No, it's just there've been a time in the past when I said, "Isn't that Long Island?" I said, "No, it's upstate." Isn't that Long Island? No, it's way up in northern New York. I'm always wrong, so I'm just never guessing that shit anymore.
And it is on the Delaware River. I was right about that.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Oh, okay, very good.
Because it is there. There's a Port Jervis
later.
There's a Jersey Transit line called the Port Jervis line that winds up in New York State, and I've always been intrigued and never taken the train.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. But go Joyzy. Speaking of not East Coast, Huck. Now that you've returned from the Mitch McConnell moment, What's up with this beer?
I got to tell you, it's really nice, actually. I thought it might be too much. When I bought it, I figured, because you know me, I got to go after I got to at least try the crazy beers like I did yesterday. But this one is nice. It's listed on Untapped as a blonde ale. You can see it's certainly darker than your usual blonde.
Yeah,
I think. Well, they call it a specialty ale. So maybe that's just blonde. It's just your base ale, as it were, like a Belgian blonde, as it were. Fair. So it's really nice. Very sweet, very sweet. You get a lot of butterscotch in it, but it's pretty drinkable. You know, I like my butterscotch. Well, I like to give the grandchildren the little butterscotch candies, so they'll continue to love me.
Are we going to have to name this episode after Mitch McConnell?
Please don't. Please don't.
The voice of the turtle.
Or you could call it Moscow Mitch, just to really piss that bitch off.
Yeah.
I got a great song though. If you do,
well, I got to know. Do we know anything about how they get the butterscotch in there? Like, are we actually brewing with butterscotch candies? Like, I'm curious if your research has gleaned.
I'm assuming. Well, there's two ways. And I don't know how they did this one, but there's two ways you put it in the boil. I'm guessing this is more like in the fermentation, probably, where it's conditioned on some sort of butterscotch.
On something. Okay.
I'll do the description for you.
Yeah.
What is Merlin's Reserve? Well, at one point it went by another name.
Merkin's Reserve.
a beer that shall not be named.
Oh, awkward.
And spoken in the Hop Kingdom. And hop. If you look up House of Pendragon, their website is hopbeer.com. Very clever.
Mm-hmm.
House of Pendragon. We knew we had to bring this beer back and make it better than before. I'm going to try to do a little research on that. And so we have created Merlin's Reserve, a specialty ale brewed with real butterscotch. That's all we get.
Huh.
So we have no idea if there's
nutmeg in here.
There might be. There might be.
Okay.
We can always hold out hope.
I'm not. Well, it could be. I'm not getting a real like an allspice or pumpkin spice vibe. It's very much. I get that candy. I get that, and it seems like it's got sweet flavor, and it goes through the finish. Like that's the butterscotch goes.
Oh wow!
Right down
all the way down the throat.
Like you're sucking on a little candy. Right down the throat. Right in that throat, guys. Okay.
Right in the throat.
But
we have really.
I like this brewery. I've had a few of their beers before. I've had some of their beers. It's and like I said, it's super local. They had a tap room in Clovis, but it closed and they're trying to reopen it. So it's really one of the real local breweries here, and I'm a fan. I like what they do. So I'm glad to bring it to the show. And
excellent.
Bizarre. And like I said, I bought it over at MGA Liquor, which is in Clovis. I went to the doctor, my yearly physical, and guess what? This. Oh, you're in Barbie mode. I
haven't seen it yet.
I'm in excellent health, guys.
Oh, excellent.
As much as I abuse my body, I'm doing really
great.
To that. Cheers, indeed.
So I guess that means you're on exactly the right meds, so you can do whatever you want. Is that essentially what it comes down to?
I still get some nasty heartburn, but yeah, I'm doing pretty well. But I only say that because then I was like, well, I'm only a few blocks away from this MGA Liquor, and I went over and I found this Merlin's Reserve, and I have another beer for later in the show.
My goodness.
And Monica over there, she was very interested in helping me and buying. She's into and they have a great selection. Like they had other half there. You know what? They had rice snaps. It was like one of the lagers. Crickets. It's like I'm getting crickets now. Just saying it. You know the lagers that Other Half makes. They're out of Brooklyn.
Yes, we know. We know Other Half. I just don't know. I don't know their. I mean, I don't.
You've heard of the brewery? Okay.
Yes, we heard of the brewery. Yeah,
once or twice.
And they had a ton of Great Notion, and they had like all these. They had a lot of really cool. They have a ton of Prairie over there. Really nice spot. I would go to it more often if it was closer. It's in Clovis. Plus, I got the market here, but the market has run out of beers for me. I also picked up some great Moonlight beers, which I love. So there you go. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Do it.
Excellent.
House of Pendragon. Hopbeer.com.
Hopbeer.com. Get it.
Yeah.
Well,
and
now,
you see this little Merlin's cap.
I know. I love the
Pendragon symbol there.
Yep.
And the dragon there. That's cool.
That's their logo. Yeah.
Nice.
Neato.
Well, you mentioned that we are getting into fall.
We are. We're halfway through August at the time of this recording. It's going to be a little bit beyond halfway when you guys are listening to this. But yeah, we're recording this on. Well, I guess we just about it. We're recording this on August 9th. So especially when you're getting to be Mitch McConnell's age, that goes by like that.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll call it Mitch, please.
Mitch, please.
That's good.
That's actually, that one's good. We should.
Like I said, I have a great song for it. I'll tell you that later. Go ahead.
I'm curious. How have you guys' summers been now that we see it drawing to a close?
Fantastic.
Well, yeah,
I'm having the time of my life.
And Huck, you've been drinking some weird ass beers.
I've been drinking a lot.
I know, but
yes, that's true.
So what we have, as I'm sure you're aware, we have the official Beer Vengers group chat, which is really the three of us. And there's just every once in a while there's a picture that shows up on the group chat. So I'm just going to scroll back in this thing for the people at home because they do need to know, because showing up
when I text you guys, it's the middle of the night for you, right, but I'm just starting my evening.
Yeah,
I don't sleep with my phone. I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like wake up this morning, and I'm getting up at I think I was up at 7 a.m. or something because I was going to work and whatever. And I look and I'm like, Mike, what is this pickle beer you're drinking? So I do need you to, I'm going to call you out and I'm going to be like, tell us about this. What, how, why?
Well, I have a picture
please.
of the can. I had it on draft last night, but this is
the spicy pickle monster.
All right.
Honestly, and it's a shark that's
so
going after.
The can is it's like a riff on the Jaws poster there.
Yeah, but you notice the art is Prairie Artisan Ales out of Krebs, Oklahoma, and so this is sour ale with spicy dill pickles, orange, lemon, and lime. So they citrus it.
Wow.
So they punch it with the citrus and the spicy dill. So it very much put me in the mind of a really super strong Goza, because it was mad salty, but it was also, I really got more of those citrusy fruits.
Interesting.
And that perfect blend of that salty pickle and the those fruits just gave me wicked heartburn.
Oh no.
But it tasted pretty good, though. It was tasted pretty good. That's me with the sour ales. That's why I backed away from sours of late. And then right afterwards, I had a Grimm Invisible Touch Helles Lager. Shout out to Grimm. And I turned to Cider Girl I was with. We went to a comedy show last night. And I was like, oh, God, I needed this. But shout out to Prairie for going for it with this pickle monster. It's kind of, like I said, I am in good health, but I think it's a younger man's beer to try. But you know what? I got to try the crazies. I got to do the butterscotch beer. I got to try the pickle monster. And it was Prairie. So I was like, just give it to me. Prairie doesn't make bad beers, right?
No. But it's funny, as I heard you describe the pickle monster, my first thought was, if you're making a beer with pickles, lemon, and lime, isn't making it a sour a little bit redundant?
Yeah. I think it's sour pickle, basically. But yeah, I guess you don't know what's the style. They're calling it sour. Yeah, they're calling it sour. But it was sour. It was sour.
There do seem to be a lot of beers out there inspired by the whole pickleback thing. Like Distilled is one that's making the rounds in New York these days.
Mm-hmm.
I've had plenty of cucumber beers, but yeah, pickle is a little bit of a punch up. Yeah.
Well, I got
it at Spokeasy over in Fresno. Great beer bar.
The Frez. You like it?
And I got this the other night that it's a bicycle theme.
Oh, Spoke.
Of course,
like shot down the street.
So it's a two-parter there because past tense.
And there's even a wheel on the front door. I had to do my Homer like, oh, I get it. Everything is made of Blocos.
Well, the word bespoke is so much in the lexicon now. And maybe that's what you thought it was. It's like because you have these bespoke beers.
That's
anyway, great place, really great
Brooklyn.
staff. Only 8 taps, but the can selection's off the chain, and you can take the cans over to the theater where we did comedy last night. So,
you did comedy as well.
I might even go down there tonight. Yeah, actually, the Cider Girl and I performed together.
Oh wow! Always a pleasure to see that.
Cool.
Yeah, we did a couple of songs. Yeah.
Well, now speaking of the group chat, I do need to go back because there was a very sacred moment that occurred that the captain let us know, which is that Goose Island announced their lineup for the for their bourbon counties. Now, and we are going to need to get your thoughts because, among other things, there are boozy tributes to rice pudding, bananas Fosters, and backyard berry picking. And like
that bananas Foster sounds real interesting.
Yes, but I'm trying to figure out how you berry picking. So, because that is an action, not a flavor.
Yeah.
That's an activity.
I like. So does it smell like sweat and like sadness and like prickle,
underpaid farm workers,
and like bleeding fingers as you hit all the like prickles on that? Like how exactly does that work?
Well, I guess some of the best beers, like take you to another place. The pleasant thing, but I think it's also meant to. My guess is, as much as all of those things would be I'd love to see someone try that and see how it would work. I think generally speaking, it sort of glosses over the negative aspects of it. Most are just like, oh yeah, remember when we all went somewhere and we were just picking berries and just sort of takes you to a lovely, maybe temperate afternoon, not a hot day like we had in July, but maybe more temperate, like the way we've been having August and just lovely berry. I will say I of those ones, to me the rice pudding sounds a little more intriguing than the bananas Foster.
Fair enough.
I just feel like bananas Foster, that's just a really strong flavor, and I would certainly have a tasting glass of that one, but to like drink a whole bottle of it, I'm a little. I'll give it a shot. No pun intended, but I don't. We'll see what happens come November.
Yes, well, that apparently is going to be the proprietor's stout, which is for the Chicago market only. So save up your freaking flyer miles, because you may need to go to the Windy City to check that business out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going back to what we were saying before about our wonderful craft beer bars, I recently had a lovely Picks and Pints experience. Went to see a movie called Kokomo City at the IFC, which is a documentary about Black trans sex workers. Really, really, really intriguing, really fascinating. And of course, that's right by the Blind Tiger. And this time I did not make the mistake of going there before the movie and, nodding off for part of it. I went there after the movie and wound up sitting next to, I should have. See, this is I take my notes and like, oh, what's that guy's name? I met a guy who works for Jack's Abbey when I was there at the bar. So I was asking him what the future of Springdale is. He didn't sound very optimistic. No. But the main reason he was there was because Fish was in town. And then I suddenly discovered like there weren't many people at the bar at that point, but everyone who was there seemed to be there because they were going to be seeing Fish later that evening.
Gotcha.
So
so you went to the movie in the afternoon.
Like Fish.
I did.
PHISH.
Yes,
correct.
Yeah, the sort of ones. It was funny because a couple weeks ago I was talking to someone about how how they are and how they how their followers have similars to the followers of the dead, but also that they're generally more annoying. Was this person's take on it?
Okay.
I didn't find these people I met annoying, but the idea that because the deadheads are more focused on the friendly drugs. That maybe some of the fish heads have like a little cocaine thrown in there as well.
Oh, okay, good. Oh. Well, it's good to mix it up.
I guess so. But yeah, that's why that maybe sometimes the fish heads aren't quite as they're not as as even though like on the surface they look a lot like the Deadheads, but they have their own flavor, shall we say?
Fair.
These
Fair.
kids today with their
I
fish.
know. Their
But
fish.
the other really interesting I found at Blind Tiger was
Uh-huh.
I mean, we talked a lot when we had poured one out for Folksbier.
Oh yeah.
Well, apparently the head brewer of Folksbier has now gone out on his own, and
Oh.
he's got a new brewery called Schenker,
Okay.
currently brewing out of 12%, and they had a new beer of theirs on tap.
Oh, great! In Connecticut, yeah.
Yes, I didn't get a chance to try it when I was there because you know me and my stouts, and unless it was a stout that I hadn't had before, they always have such a great selection of Blind Tiger. I wasn't able to get around to that one.
You got to do it. Yeah, Blind Tiger.
Always a classic.
The classic.
Yeah.
New York beer bar.
Thinking that area, another one that is kind of classic, Carmine's beer store, will be celebrating its 10th birthday on the 26th of August, which is kind of exciting. And I know they're having a bit of a blowout. Mm-hmm. So I found it
Carmine
on
Street,
our friend
right?
Carmine Street. Yes, exactly. So kind of same area, continuing to have that village vibe. But they're hitting their 10th year, which honestly, like, I was a little surprised it was only 10 years, because I feel like they've been around for more than a minute. And I know 10 years is more than a minute, but still, there was like a pandemic in the middle of that, But I always thought they were older than that. So
yeah, I mean, I can't pinpoint going there. I've only been like once. It looks like they put in a bar there.
Yeah, you can drink the beer.
Oh, that's the deal. Is they're like a bottle shop with a bar?
Exactly, that's where they are now. So
well, clearly since they've been around,
they didn't have the bar, so that's how long it's been since I've been there.
Since they are now an institution, I definitely guess I'm way overdue visiting it. That's another plan for one of our field trips in the future, Beer Wonder.
I agree. Yes, on the 26th, they will be doing all sorts of fun things, including some exquisite bottle pours, as they describe it. Exquisite. So make sure that you're there. And also, this is a mildly controversial thing, but our friends out in the Staten Island flagship.
Yeah,
they will be hosting their flagship brewing. We've heard of them. They will be hosting Oysterfest in September this year.
Oh,
and what exactly does that entail?
I believe it is oysters, beer, and bands.
Oh, cool. Rock and roll.
Now, my question is, because they often do an oyster stout, if I recall. That's like one of their things, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I know Blue Point does it, but I believe they also do one. Captain, as our expert on stouts, what is your thought on the oyster addition to the stout beer?
Oh, I love oyster stouts. In fact, I had a really good one from Alewife recently. It was called something like Draw Down the Moon, something like that. But that's one that I really enjoy that one. I can't remember what the first one I had, but in fact, I should probably, because the first time I sounded a little odd the first time I had it, but I've had a lot of really good ones. I think 6 Point might have had an oyster stout.
Yep.
Flying Dog is one that I know they had one.
Which one?
Flying Dog.
Yeah. I think it was called Pearl Necklace.
There you go.
Oh, that would make sense because, oysters make pearls.
Yes. Right. Despite Huck's reaction there, no, we're not talking about, dried semen.
We are really earning our explicit rating tonight, gentlemen. We're doing a very good job at that.
I was just like, I was going to raise my hand. Like, does it have to be dried?
That was what, as soon as I said it, I thought that, Well, see, I always thought that,
put that on the hookups next week. Like, it can still be considered a necklace while it's still damp.
Honestly, this is for our Belgian listeners. Our Belgian listeners, if you have an opinion on that, please send it in. Yeah, in fact, I even, for a while, I wondered if, I think the reason I thought it was dried is because I thought that, maybe if, it gets into, some nooks and crannies and, say you, get, a little dried piece of it in your ear or something, and you sort of, have to,
ear.
Got a pearl earring.
Well, actually, that's not what I was thinking. Pearl Jam. I was thinking that would be dried remnants of a pearl necklace is called Pearl Jam, and I always wondered if that's where the name of that band came from.
Oh, like Toe Jam. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where the name of that band came from. That's
I just assumed they took an oyster, popped the pearl out, smashed it, and put it on some toast, therefore making it Pearl Jam. See, that's how this works.
Hey-o.
Oh, that's another way to think of it. Sure, yeah.
I'm pretty literal in this sense, I think. Also, not super into. Yeah, anyway, it's fine. pop culture is not my thing. We all know this. We can move on.
Oyster Fest. Well, it sounds like a good time. I
Yeah,
enjoy
it does.
fresh oysters for sure.
With or
I do
without
enjoy
pearl
a fresh
jam.
oyster. Without pearls or jam. But honestly, fresh oysters and beer, like I've done it for ever since we Beer Avengers stopped doing our walking across the Brooklyn Bridge, which was always a tradition for New Year's. I have occasionally met up with folks and had oysters and cocktails on January 1 to sort of bring in the new year. But I should really, I always forget how good oysters are with beer.
Yeah, they are. They're very good with beer. In fact, a place in my neighborhood does like dollar oysters on Thursday nights.
Sweet.
And a place called Jack Jones. They'll have dollar oysters, and you can have that with, I enjoy their house red ale, but lots of other good stuff there. Very, very enjoyable.
Okay, I did some digging, and I think I know what the beer that shall not be named was.
Oh no.
That's now Merlin's Reserve, and I believe it was called Butterbeer.
Oh.
And if for our Potterheads out there,
oh my god,
it looks like they probably got a cease and desist on that because they like to they do a few Potter-esque beers. Their names, they do like fantasy names because House of Pendragon. But Butterbeer, I think they were probably told not to do that. Call it that.
That makes sense. I get that.
And the He Who Shall Not Be Named is the character from that as well. So it looks like it's the same beer. Although this one was brewed with English Maris Otter malt, among other specialty grains. We used actual butterscotch, no extract, and vanilla beans to give the candy-like flavors in this beer. This wizardly brew is sweet with a creamy, velvety mouthfeel. Flavors of vanilla enchant your tongue with a finish of sweet butterscotch. So a bit different, but I think this is the beer. This is the one I'm gonna, because it's 7% as well. And I think Captain and I might be ready for part two of our
dose.
I think we are, yeah. So why don't you go first, Doc?
Okay, well, I went again to MG8 Liquor in Clovis, and I got myself a Great Notion beer. And I know we haven't had much, if any, Great Notion on the show.
Sometimes.
Great Notion is definitely a hype brewery.
Okay. But what?
The Hayes House, as it were, super. And they do, but this is actually, it's the Ledge beer. This is a Pilsner. And so, me, I like to try the pills. Let's pop this open and see how it is. I'm assuming it's going to be good.
Ooh.
Because it's Great Notion. I think this is it should be a good beer. Let's take a look at it.
In your frothy city glass. Color.
When you mentioned whether we had it before or not, and I said sometimes, I actually don't know if we had it before, but there's a book called Sometimes a Great Notion, so that's why I said
I see. Well, they usually have more like animal characters on their beers. And they're generally known for their haze and their sours. But this is their Pilsner, so I'm excited to try it.
Huh.
Well, I've built the head up a little bit. It's got
interesting.
Nice sort of hazy pills, like an unfiltered Pilsner. 5.5%. Hashtag and keep beer fun. Hashtag keep beer fun. Why not? Yeah. Ledge beer. Let's give it a shot.
And to give people out there a notion of what that can looks like, it's got sort of a pine tree with an axe, which makes me even think more of the book Sometimes a Great Notion, because it's a book written by Ken Kesey, who's better known for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But it's about a family of loggers in Oregon. So it's actually not a family of lager beers. I mean Logger. They're people who
maybe that might be where the name of the brewery came from.
Wouldn't surprise me.
See.
There we go.
Right on.
All right. Well, the next beer is one that I've had this beer a lot, but it was on draft at the Beer and Cheese Collective for quite a while. And then when they finally ran out of the draft, I started buying the cans of it. And this is from Muckraker Brewing. And this is also, it's packaged by 12% and brewed there as well. But Muckraker is the brewery, and the name of the beer is Dark as Your Soul. This is a wheated imperial stout coming in at a hefty 13%.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Oh,
that's why I started with the 5.9 or 5.8.
Yeah, well, you have to catch up.
Out of Franklin, New Jersey.
Oh, that's where Muckraker is from?
I mean, I just popped it up.
No, I'm sure you're right.
Where'd you get the
Although, yeah,
can?
I'm sure that's where they're. But I got it at Beer and Cheese Collective. But
Okay.
it's brewed at 12% in Connecticut.
Oh, that'll
Okay.
do it.
There we go.
Nice,
I
gorgeous. I
love
love
that.
that can art too.
That
Me
is
too.
beautiful. Yeah,
And
that is a
that
truly gorgeous beer.
thin, chocolatey head on that.
And so
Oh,
it's
nice.
such a rich, definitely very sippable beer. Yeah, it's strangely enough, we talked about you had a beer. It was called the Lazy Fox or the Lazy something or other. Didn't you have some anyway? Because
What?
yeah, wasn't there like a California brewery called Lazy Fox or
Summer
something?
Fox?
I don't know. I thought it was something that was derived
Lazy
from
Dog.
that.
That's the
Okay, well, I'm
that's the
totally
beer
lost there.
club. The beer club beer.
I
Lazy
thought there
Dog.
was some brewery that was sort of inspired by that old typing exercise. Do you know what I mean? You see the
Oh, the
quick brown
quick
fox
brown
jump
fox.
Yeah,
over
it's
the
got to be
lazy
this
dog.
Lazy Dog.
Something
So
on
that's
a
This
lazy
is a
probably
dog.
it.
restaurant chain. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the logo for the brewery on the back of the can is like a fox wearing a press hat at a typewriter.
Oh,
So a fox
Oh,
at a
okay.
typewriter makes me immediately think of the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Oh yeah. Well, we're getting some. We're definitely getting to new breweries this week. This is
I
great.
know.
sure are,
There's
yeah.
a lot happening.
Now, Great Notion is known for their ripe IPA. If you and their logos are generally look like these kind of characters, and they're like when I call them hype, I mean hype like back in the can trading days. People in the
Sure.
East Coast would trade for Great
Right.
Notion for Trillium or other half, and so
And you always seem to be a little bit suspect of hype breweries.
well. I am maybe now I am. Originally I was like, oh, I got to try that,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But until I suddenly lost my desire to drink nothing but haze. When did that
Yeah.
happen? I remember when it happened. Actually, never mind.
Oh, okay. You don't. That's a story
I
you
don't
don't
need
want
to
to
tell
tell
you.
right now.
I probably already
All right.
have.
Probably. We drink, so sometimes we
do.
forget what we've already talked about.
I tell you,
Yes.
I've been really enjoying beers. I actually have had to like set rules for myself because I'm just like I'm trying to like not pass the 5 beer mark in an evening.
Okay.
Trying to do like mindful drinking.
Mindful drinking,
Sure.
mindful eating,
You
mindful
know,
That makes
where
sense,
drinking.
yeah.
you think about how much you're drinking rather than just going for it.
And also really appreciating the beer that you're having.
Yeah.
Like
And
not just
maybe
like saying, okay, I got to knock this back.
Yeah, and get to the next one. Yeah, which I do anyway. So, but yeah, I'm just trying to take it easy. So this will be 2. So am I going to go out tonight and 3 more somewhere?
Maybe you will. That sounds like sounds like an
the
evening.
option is available.
But I gotta get. I gotta. But then I gotta get in the car. Am I gonna drive somewhere? You know what? I could probably. Well, we better not get too
No, we
deep
won't.
into
We
that.
certainly do not encourage that here on the.
But I've been
Motherfucking
enjoying a
Beercast.
lot of beer. This past weekend, Cider Girl and I were invited to Jason's house, the Jason and Jason of Grayview Brewing here in Fresno. They don't have a tap room, but they're brewing here in Fresno. They invited us to their home to check out their wicked cool garage bar, which was just so cool. Like I thought, oh, this would be neat, and it was beyond that. It was like this. It was a bar, had seats, had taps in the wall, and it had a cold room even.
Oh wow.
Where the kegs were, and I brought over some cans. I did drink a couple of the cans that maybe I was holding on to for the captain, but we'll get other ones.
Awkward.
But they had 2 beers on tap. They had an IPA. Well, they actually had 3. One was an apple beer, which the Cider Girl actually enjoys. It's more of it's closer to a cider than a beer, but it does have hops. And they had an IPA, and then they had a California Common. That's the one I was sort of drinking. California Common being like a steam beer, brings us back
Steam
to
beer,
Anchor.
right? Yeah.
But really nice stuff, really good stuff. And they actually are having a Lord of the Rings themed event, as it were. They're putting out 9 beers to rule them all.
Oh wow.
And they're putting them out in 3 different bars. and you can get like a pass, as it were, and you can go and get a stamp for each beer you try. It's gonna be 3 locations here in the Summer Fox Clovis, where they actually do their brewing, and also at Spokeasy, which I just mentioned, and at a place called Industry Tap Union. And they're going to have 9 different beers at these 3 bars, and they're going to go fast. So it's going to be really hard to actually get them all. But it's a fun promotion for Greyview.
It seems like if they were having an event and they wanted to like have a VIP thing where you get there an hour early, they would call that the extended version.
Oh,
so you have. I'm just trying to think of like as many
12-inch
parallels to watching the full length versions of stuff.
Right. I said to him, I said, "Oh, so does each one represent one of the hobbits and one's Gandalf?" Like, no,
Yeah,
different beers.
Yeah, because if we were doing that, then there would be like, if you're doing the Hobbit, then you'd have to go with like, one would be a Bilbo. Well, yeah, you'd have to do like 15 of them at least, because you'd have to have one for each of the 13 dwarves, one for Bilbo and one for Gandalf. Yeah.
No, you're thinking of the Hobbit. This is the 9.
Yeah, but it's part of the same story.
Fellowship of the 9.
Yeah. Oh, I see. The Fellowship was 9. That makes more sense.
Right.
But I'm saying if they wanted to do a sequel or a prequel, then doing the 13.
Good point. Yeah.
Then that would be like the next thing.
So they have a presence in town, but they're, it's they put a beer out and they get it out and they go fast.
Yeah.
So they don't. It's almost they're much like a woodland elf that suddenly appears in the woods and you can get it and then it's gone. So great guys, really glad to know them, and that was a fun little evening we had over at their spot. Yeah, it was nice.
Well, as far as talking about different like spots to go to, I've I think sometimes people, if they don't know much about us, they think this is some kind of a beer snob thing where we eschew more neighborhoody places. So I've been spending a lot of time lately at Rudy's.
Oh, Rudy's!
Wow, you guys have been to Rudy's
with the hot dogs.
Yeah, well,
Rudy's,
I've been doing a play on 44th Street. And both the director and one of the other actors is always very enthusiastic about, let's go to Rudy's after the show or after rehearsal. And the only bad part about that is having to walk through 2 avenue blocks of Times Square. But once we get there and we can find a spot, it's really nice. It's great because basically their Rudy's Red is a really nice, solid beer. And it's $15 for a pitcher of it. So it's like, so you basically just like everyone takes a turn buying a pitcher, and then like if you want to feel like really magnanimous, it only costs you $20. So like you're like it's just the sort of thing. Like I always feel like it's a $15 pitcher. Here, keep the change. Yeah. I especially if it's the only one I'll be buying for the evening, because generally it is. It's because it's a very quaffable but very nice clean beer.
Rudy's Red.
The rumor I heard was that the reason Rudy's is still able to keep their prices so low is because they own the building.
That's always how it works around
here. And there are apartments above it. So they they it doesn't really cost them much because they get all the rent from the people up there, prime real estate there, and Rudy's is able to keep their prices low and keep people coming in, and it's I've been there multiple times. I've been there more times in the last 3 weeks than I have in the last 10 years.
Wow.
It's been a whole lot of fun. Yeah, even I didn't get the free hot dog every time, but I got that once or twice.
I've never tried that.
Oh, it's especially if you haven't had time for dinner, it's a nice little thing to sort of put something in your stomach except beer.
It just smacks the spot.
And it's free. Yeah.
We experience that, wherever we go. There's sometimes, especially if you're doing, you're hanging out with people who aren't beer nerds, we're going to go to a specific beer bar.
Yeah.
But same thing out here. I go to a place called Locked In. It's actually down the street here. I could walk there, and there's some open mics there. They're doing a comedy open mic there now, and their tap selection is not great. So I get the Guinness can. And the Guinness can is actually it says California on it. They're brewed in Ireland. It's a nitro can.
Love it.
It's brewed in Dublin, but it's brewed for export to California specifically. So it's kind of a cool can.
Is there a specific reason?
I did try I had a Modelo the other night. I'm like, I'll have a Modelo, and I was like, no, I don't.
Is there a specific reason
I drank it,
that
but,
it's just for California? Is there something that California requires that they're doing such that it would say California on the can? Kind of like sometimes like soda says New York on the side of the can. We'll see that because we've got certain
that I don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming it's just a promotional thing. Because California is like,
because y'all think you're fancy.
It's a huge economy. It's a huge place.
Yeah.
And they just are able to specifically. We're like Australia over here. We could be self-sustaining if we wanted to, I suppose.
California is so vast. But also California is so vast, it's probably not hard for them to find some place that's like a little off the beaten path to buy up a whole lot of space and be able to make a lot of stuff for a big market that's not too far away. Speaking of which, I just recently, did you guys know that there is a big Sierra Nevada facility near Asheville, North Carolina?
No.
Yeah, I understand that the brewery tour there is fantastic.
Yeah, well, a friend of ours just got to go on it last week, and she started. You remember someone you met at the last couple of Beer Venger parties, Becca. She has family in Florida, so they were going on a little family vacation together.
The doctor, I think.
Yeah, well, I think that was one of the we never quite settled on a name for her, but that was the one you were going for because at one point she was accused of nursing her beer. Like someone, but in any case, but she started posting all this stuff on Instagram. All these, it's a huge facility. She was on that tour. She put pictures of hops, and honestly, I think some of their equipment is like similar to what we saw when we were in Germany. There's really big ones there, a big copper. It's really a lot of great pictures. So now it's added to my list of places that I want to go to.
Yeah, and Asheville is a beer mecca.
Asheville's amazing. Yeah.
So they have a lot of independent breweries that we don't know about because they're just so specific to that region. Much like Portland, which is where Great Notion is from. There's so many like Great Notion people know about, but there's hundreds of other breweries in the city that we don't know about outside of Oregon because they don't need to go outside. They do well on their own. I mean, you could say the same about a lot of areas, but
almost every area, which is to me that's part of the reason why we wanted to do this, right?
Yeah.
Because there's just so many beers. There's the reason we've done this 84 episodes and for the most part never repeated a beer except for the 2 times we did. It's just because we could never have every beer that ever is. We could do a daily show, and we could do this every day, and we could never get to all the beers that are out there And I did read an article the other day about how
that concept
that maybe that crest, that maybe the wave is starting to crest. That craft beers will still be a major presence, but maybe we've finally seen that it's starting to more and more places are starting to close now, and I mean the whole that's true about the whole economy right now. I think it's like, but yeah, that maybe some people are kind of like, okay, maybe I don't need to have 30 more options every time I go out to just have a new experience. Maybe I don't know. I think that might be part of it.
Considering reduced options, I know that Anheuser-Busch recently offloaded some stuff.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal. That was a big shift in the
which reduces options coming out of Anheuser. But Captain, I know you had a connection to all of this.
I do, which makes me feel like I don't know how much I should talk about this because full disclosure, I own stock in the company that just bought like 8 AB InBev brands that had previously been craft beer, but now they decided they're actually one of the things that I read about it was alleged they bought a bunch of stuff in a package deal, and there was always a rumor that the only one they really wanted was Kona, and they're holding on to Kona.
Yeah,
and they didn't get Kona.
They did get Kona.
Oh, they did.
Oh,
Oh,
they did?
I thought
Yeah,
that was the
Kona
one
is
that they
AB
held on
InBev.
to. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But no, I'm saying no. What I'm saying is when AB InBev bought
Oh,
that
I
whole
see.
group, they got
Yeah.
Kona, but they sold like everything but Kona.
But
Got it.
Which
right.
Yeah.
right, and two of those are breweries that I'm very I was fond of before, and I'm kind of glad they're back. Slightly more independent, depending on what Tilray does with them. Again,
Yeah.
I don't, even though I own stock in it, and I want them to do well. I don't know how well they're doing these things, but they've been very slowly. It's part of their whole deal. While they're biding their time, they're a Canadian cannabis company,
Yeah.
and they've been sort of working their way into the American market through breweries. They
Ah.
started with. I'm not sure which one they did first. I actually think Sweetwater was the first one because Sweetwater
Okay.
is very cannabis friendly.
Sure.
So that sort of fit with their brand of being a
420
cannabis
is their
company.
Yeah.
flagship beer.
It is. And then they bought Green Flash and Alpine in California. And then this is an interesting thing. They had bought Breckenridge Distillery out of Colorado, but now part of
Oh.
this new deal means they also own Breckenridge Brewery.
Okay.
Which is one I always liked. They had a really good vanilla porter, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Just get that
I
over at Pony, yeah.
always liked Blue Point. I didn't, I think some of their stouts are a little bit more lighter, which sometimes make them good for a summer stout. But they always had some really good stuff. And so I'm
Blueberry
kind.
ale.
Oh yeah, really great.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah, actually, the Belgian babe and I had a nice pairing dinner one night at a place that's no longer with us called Mexicu.
Oh yes.
But it was
Mhm.
all blue. It was all
Yeah.
Blue Point, and we had a different beer with each course. And yeah, I remember the blueberry one you mentioned specifically because that was the one they served it with like a blueberry cobbler,
Oh,
like
sweet.
a different beer with
Nice.
each course. And
Wow.
what was the IPA they had that was like they had one that was really well known. I don't know if it still even exists anymore. But I remember like that we had that with elk
Yeah,
tacos.
Mosaic was a thing. A Little Mo was a session IPA that
Yeah,
I enjoyed from them.
Mm.
I may have
But
to
the
look this up on
Toasted
Untappd.
Lager was their flagship.
Toasted Lager, that's the one. Yeah, it was Toasted Lager that they had with the elk tacos. That was really good. I don't know why I thought it was
Oh,
IPA.
golly. Nice.
But
Yeah,
yeah, that
Toasted Lager,
yeah.
that's even when I was at Arts and Crafts, they were still we had cans of Toasted Lager, and I think that was part of like they wanted to break away from AB InBev, the bar that I worked at.
Yeah.
And they were like, and they said, well, you have this credit of all these you could have this amount of beer that you already paid for. I'm like, okay, well, give us a few cases of the Toasted Lager.
Yeah.
So that's what we ended up getting. But I always enjoyed them early on in the early days of craft, and that blueberry ale was one that made me change my mind about fruited beer. Like, fruited beer, that's not I'm not gonna have fruit in my beer, that kind of attitude. And I was like, wait a second, that tastes pretty darn good. So
yeah, it's been long enough since we talked about this, and like I know everyone who's listening has listened to all 83 of the episodes previously.
Every
so I apologize
single
if I'm repeating
one.
myself. Absolutely. But I've mentioned this before that I think the reason I didn't like, I mean, aside from the stigma of it, I don't think I ever got the stigma of it. Like, oh, fruit in my beer, I don't want that. I'm a man. Let me scratch my crotch now.
if I could say, I got a lot of the fruit, I don't want to have any fruit in my beer.
Thank you, Mr. Turtle.
Moscow Mitch.
But no, but I think what it really was initially some of the fruit beers were using more artificial sweeteners,
Right.
and that's why they weren't good. But then when fruit beer really started to take off, is when people started to get serious about putting real fruit in it that had more of a crisp finish and not like a chemically aftertaste. I think that's what really turned the corner for a fruit beer.
Yeah, like actually conditioning the beers on blueberries or on fruit. In fact, there's coming back to this brewery here, a Great Notion. They have a blueberry beer that's quite popular, and it's like just great stuff. And by the way, if I may, this ledge beer,
yeah,
is great.
All right.
It's really good. It's that American, what I like to call American craft Pilsner, because an American Pilsner is kind of like Budweiser.
Right.
But American craft Pilsner, where it's a bit hoppier than your German style or your Czech. It's a little hazier. It's got that little unfiltered vibe to it. Just super refreshing and just easy to drink. Nice, slight bitter finish. Excellent beer. I would get this again for sure.
I already have the song picked out for it.
All right.
Oh, great. Good.
Good Night, Irene.
Oh, that'll do it.
Well, do you know the lyric I'm talking about?
I'll see you in my dreams.
That's part of it. Yeah, it's in it. But like the line is, sometimes I live in the country, sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I'd take a great notion to jump in the river and drown.
Oh my,
Irene, good night. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, that's where the title of the book comes from. Yeah,
this is the beer I was talking about. Blueberry muffin, they call it.
Yeah. Oh, and excellent.
You do not want to take those muffins away from that bear. Yeah.
No.
He will swipe you. He will.
It's actually a fruited sour. It's not a tastes just like a blueberry muffin. I've never tried it. Made with Oregon blueberries and baked to perfection. Yeah.
Baked.
No, I was thinking we just mentioned Asheville and Portland. These would be great destinations for the Beer Avengers.
That's very true.
Yeah, we are all about beer tourism. Yeah,
we did Belgium and Germany. We should be doing
closer to home,
somewhere in the States.
America.
Of course, I'm trying to get a Fresno thing going.
I know.
Hey, trying to get a what going?
A Fresno.
Oh yeah, well we'll do that.
Yeah, when it's freezing cold and terrible here in Gotham, we'll come out to where it's always 1,000,000 degrees, and there's a pool,
and maybe less than 100
cold.
Yeah, it'll actually be cold comfortably, but very warm for us. So
right,
win-win.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Maybe none of those atmospheric rivers happening. We'll see.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's El Nino season. Anyway, this has been a great episode. Again,
it has.
We have
hang with you guys.
We've continued to drink beer and change lives.
I feel like we didn't. We did. I feel like just we didn't get all the as far as when we're talking about the Tilray thing. One more thing I wanted to say about that,
please.
So there are 8 brands that are going there, and I'm just looking this up to make sure I because I know we've mentioned the 2 or 3 you mentioned. The other ones are Shock Top, 10 Barrel, Red Hook, Widmer Brothers, Square Mile Cider, and something called Highball Energy.
Sure.
Which is the least interesting of all of them because apparently AB InBev already discontinued it. So they're buying the brand. I guess they're going to resurrect it.
Oh, wow.
And
that very much seems like we're just going to throw one in for free.
Sure. And also by buying those 8 brands, Tilray will now be the number 5 craft brewer in the United States.
America.
I don't know what the other 4 is. I really tried to Google it. I tried to find out an actual list. I'm assuming that Sam Adams, Boston Beer Company, is on that list. Not as far as number.
It depends on who you ask about what a craft beer is. Because
it's true.
Like a certain amount of barrels or
percentage.
Like Sam isn't, or Boston Beer is considered too big to be craft beer at this point.
Yeah,
but Sierra Nevada maybe is big.
Yes,
Stone is big.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like I don't know if like because it's because Boston Beer Company includes Sam Adams and Angry Orchard and Dogfish now. So I don't know if it's like I think it's like maybe when you're looking at conglomerates, even if they're small conglomerates, as far as that goes, by having like because Tilray already had Sweetwater and Montauk and 2 others. Anyway, so that I guess they've got Montauk and the other 2 I mentioned, Alpine and Green Flash. So by having a dozen,
I used to love Green Flash.
Yeah, not good anymore.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I that was like when they were craft, early aughts. Early teens, late aughts. That was like one of my go-tos at Pony. It was like, oh, they got a Green Flash on. Hell yeah.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I used to
those real piney West Coast IPAs. Yeah, they were great.
They're still doing it. Yeah. I mean, I visited them in San Diego a couple of years ago.
I never see cans. I haven't seen them at all here. I don't know.
Maybe they're a smaller operation if they're not even making it as far north as you are.
I also never see Ballast Point up here.
Interesting. Yeah, because their operation when I was in San Diego was like really great. And of course, my own
Actually, I
bias.
shouldn't
Of course,
say that. I
love
do
one.
see them. I just ignore them.
All right. Oh, you do? Okay. But I mean, I do
was
too.
just thinking, oh yeah, no, wait, I do see them. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
but probably you see like the Sculpin, like
Yeah,
the
Sculpin six packs. Yeah,
which are fine, but not my thing either.
it seems like there's just these waves, like these beers I'm talking about, like back in the like when we would go to Pony, these were like the top beers we would get, and now we try to find these other breweries that are newer and smaller, and not necessarily that big means bad, but we just
sure
have moved on from a lot of those. Even like, I don't know, does Other Half too big now? I don't know. They're probably not.
I don't think they're too big.
I think I think when I don't think you can judge someone by whether they're too big. It's whether being big has lessened the quality of the product.
What does it do to them? Yeah, we saw what
if
it
you're
did to
able
like Founders.
Yeah, if you're able, well, Founders, but they sound like they're
they want
internally
path,
corrupt.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. That's the frustrating thing about Founders is their beer is still great, but I just can't. Hard for me. Even
I know when they got bigger, I was like, well, these beers are still darn good.
Speaking of blueberries, the other day I saw a blueberry KBS at my local grocery store.
Oh, okay.
I didn't buy it, but I may eventually cave and buy some more Founders. I don't know. I fuck Founders, yes, but every once in a while, it's I can't resist it.
I'll allow it. I mean,
none of us
so
is
many
perfect.
corporations that are so corrupt that it's like, I mean, what can you do? Sometimes it's like, I mean, I don't know where you guys bank, but any bank you go. Well, I think the captain is still with the credit union. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm still with the Actors Federal Credit Union.
Yeah, so I mean that's like you can.
They're as pure as the driven snow
of our money in these evil corporations.
Oh no, I mean they're fucked up as well. But I only with them because credit unions generally have smaller fees. I mean, yeah, you can say you're doing it for moral reasons or whatever, but generally speaking, you're going to get off better with a credit union if you can do that, because banks will do anything they can to give you fees, and since credit unions are a co-op, they're less likely to fuck over the people whose money they're keeping.
Gotcha.
They are one of the last. Actors Federal Credit Union is one of the last places in the country where you can do a fee-free checking account for a business account. Check it.
There you go. Yeah.
And with that random fact, we may have reached the end. Yes.
We may have, yeah. I mean, yeah. We the banking. I don't know if it's close to beer, but I mean, hell, I was talking about my stock portfolio a second ago, so I guess it all fits in together. I can't talk too much about that. I will lose my man of the people cred if I do that too much. I think.
Beer Wonder,
because I know I'm deeply invested in that.
Beer Wonder, what do you think? Where are we at? I mean,
I think we have changed lives. I think we have drunk beer, and I think people need to think about keeping in touch with the Beer Avengers. Captain, if they want to hear the real juice that is being squeezed from Huck's weird beer adventures and your picks and pints and I'm never on social media, so I really don't count on any of this. Where should the people look?
Well, it's really simple. All you have to do is take the and Beer Avengers and kind of smash them together, and then put an @ symbol at the beginning. Really, you can find anything if you just put @the Beer Avengers and take that fucking space away. It's just
Instagram,
the Beer Avengers.
Are we still
Facebook.
Are we on X?
You can also email us at the Beer Avengers. I mean, I'm not putting anything on there, but we have that account that exists in the world. We're there. Also, you can email us at thebeeravengers@gmail.com.
And TikTok.
And the
TikTok, none of us.
Captain may have put up a new TikTok lately.
I did not, but in fact, it's been so long. That's why I emailed you about that today, was because they made me relog in and I didn't know my password. So we have a new password there. We're not going to mention it on the show. We could. Wouldn't that be funny if we just said it here? Like anyone who is listening,
anyone could post.
All Beer Avengers can post on there. Maybe, I don't know.
That's not a bad. Well, we'll talk about that and see where the
I don't know if democratizing the TikTok is really the way to go, y'all. I don't know if that's the step we want to take, but that's an off-air discussion,
right? Because if it gets out of control, if it gets out of control, it's bad, and if it doesn't, we're like, no one fucking listens to our show. There's no good outcome either way.
I know either way.
I do want to also tease a little bit about what we have, but I know we got to run out here. But before we do, I do want to tease a little.
Yeah.
upcoming, we're gonna get really a little more intense with the Picks and Pints thing, because the Beer Wonder and I have an experience planned
It's gonna be
that we
crazy,
will be
y'all.
talking about on the next episode. That has to do with a very popular movie, and we will be seeing it on the biggest screen in the country, the
In
best experience
America.
to see this film. Uh,
America.
yeah, whether or not we can get beer there or not, we'll certainly be having one afterwards, because I know the place. So hopefully you have that planned into your schedule as well, Beer Wonder.
Yes, indeed.
If not, try and map out something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll do that, and we may even be having a bartender from one of our indie cinemas as our next guest. I hesitate to say that because we plan these things and then they don't always come through, but I'm saying it out loud this time, and I believe it will be happening. So yeah, have that to look forward to, as well as whatever beers you're having and we're having, and I'm just rambling at this point, so I think maybe it's
Huck
time
should
for
play
Huck
us
to
out.
play us out. All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Oh, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers.
We're the Beer Avengers.
Bye, 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 yes.
Bye bye, guys.